Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm Himanshi Tewari and you're watching IBM Presents AI in Action, creating new frontiers for business innovation in association with ETCIO. Now, AI is no longer just a tech play, it's a business imperative. From underwriting loans in seconds to transforming supply chains and customer engagement, AI is fundamentally changing how enterprises operate. And yet, for leaders, the question isn't how cool is this tech, but how do we ensure it's scalable, sustainable, and purposeful? Now, in this conversation, we'll hear from seasoned leaders who are helping cut through the hype and create real enterprise-grade impact. But before we dive into algorithms and adoption curves, let's open with something a bit more human, right? So say hello to Sendil Kumar Venkatesan, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Shriram Capital. We are also joined in by Manjunath Prasad, Vice President ITS at TVS Mobility, and of course Rajesh Malhotra, who is a Tech Sales Leader Data at IBM India and South Asia. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us for this conversation. You know, at this point in time, everyone is talking about AI, right? But the real challenge is how do we make the AI useful for us at this point in time, right? We'll perhaps talk about it, but you know, before actually jumping into the conversation and to talk about how are we making it useful for us, let's understand AI a bit more and let our audiences also perhaps understand AI a bit more. You know, what is that one myth or misconception you would want that people should now at this point at least stop believing in? We'll start with you, Sendil, sir.
What I personally feel is that AI is inevitable for any organization to go it, especially when you want to compete with the other organization, you should be in such a way that your customer should get benefit out of this. If that is the area which we start focusing, things will be good for us to take AI to the next level. Otherwise, we will not be in shape to bring AI. So the customer journey or a customer feel which we are giving, where AI should be much use.
But have you seen, like in your workplace or anywhere else, is there any misconception or myth around AI that you
see? What AI generally people in an organization or outside world, they feel is that once AI comes, the manpower will get reduced.
Yeah, they're going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, they will be losing their jobs. They will not be able to do the regular jobs. See, one thing is that I can tell as a myth as well as true. If you are not upgrading yourself, see, like jobs which are related to mundane jobs. Yeah. So these areas, they should be in a such a way that AI can very easily fit in. Yeah. But generally what the misconception is that AI comes, the entire thing, there will be a job which they are using, they are following may get lost. And second is that they think that cost. Yeah. Cost wise, AI if we bring will reduce the cost. Yeah. And similarly there are set of persons where if we bring AI, cost will increase. Yeah. So we have to see a proper tool, solutions to ensure that AI is helping in such a way that cost wise also it is not going ahead, or an area where we have budgeted is not exceeding that. Yeah. Initially there could be many scenarios where we have to do R&D. Yeah. Definitely the cost will be more. So that side we should not think that, oh, I have spent so much for AI. So going forward I will be spending more than what I have planned. It is not like that. Initial stage it will be, and slowly we have to fine tune it and we have to ensure that the cost is under our control.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You know, very good point made that we are actually starting this conversation by understanding that it's not man versus machine. It's man with machines, right? Yes. And picking this point to you as well, Manjunath sir, what do you think about it?
Adding to what Sendil said, he's definitely on the point. In addition to that, what we see is that not only that the security piece also coming in. They're telling that since it's open data, it's having all the machine learning language from all over the world, is it bound to be leaking? Is it bound to be that my company data goes out? So there are these kind of misconceptions that are there. which we can be very well defined and tracked. We can put the boundaries where my data flow can be within the organization. So we can come out of the myth that if I use AI, my data will go out. That should not be there, because there are many effective tools today. And then second thing is, the second myth what they have is, if AI is being used, will my governance, what will happen to the governance?
Governance, yeah.
Who is going to take care of the ownership of the data and all? So these are all handleable cases which has to be handled and then taken forward. But as rightly said, we cannot escape AI. AI is always there, it's going to be there. I think we are going to see much more improved versions of AI coming in future.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And we'll perhaps discuss about the ethical considerations around AI in a while in the second part of our conversation, perhaps. AI is here to stay, of course. Moving to you, Rajesh, sir. The same thing, you've been talking to lot many companies, many organizations. You've been helping them to scale their, AI technology. What is that myth or misconception you hear often when it comes to AI?
Yeah, so one of the things that you do here is the poor understanding about what AI is itself, right? So for many people it's magic. Yeah. For many people it might be like Sendil sir mentioned, a job threatener.
Job threatener.
So for somebody else it could be something else, right? So so there is a lot of misconception about what AI is, So however, the way to go about this is essentially to be able to identify with the right use cases which can be solved with with AI. Yeah. And the path to it is definitely experimentation and trying it out as proof of concepts, which is what eliminates the fear about the ability for an AI to do it. So second part is trust, right? The second part about is about trust. Can I trust what an tool is giving out? Yeah. Because what I'm using is an unknown black box for me. Yeah. And whatever it throws up, whether it's trust, can I trust it or can't I trust it? Yeah. So this is another big I would say fear. I would rather say not misconception but a fear here. Yeah. In terms of how to deal with it, right? So one side is magic and the other side is fear. Yeah, yeah. So you have to thread in between somewhere, right? And that can happen through practical use cases and identifying the right areas to work on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One thing that we want to establish in the beginning of this conversation, that AI perhaps is not a threat, right? If you learn to move hand in hand with AI, then we can use it in best possible ways. Perhaps that is what we're going to discuss in this conversation today. And, when we talk about AI, one thing that interests me a lot is its capability of predictive analysis, right? It can predict what's going to happen. Now it has also taken over Netflix, right? Now Netflix knows what we want to watch on what days, right? So let's talk about its predictive analysis capability, and I'll move to you, Manjunath sir. TVS Mobility is a global auto disruptor and largest in its category, right? And there are many reports around predictive analysis that how it can reduce inventory cost and scale up or improve service levels, right? So how are you leveraging AI, or how can people in your industry leverage AI for forecasting accuracy, inventory optimization, real-time route planning, and much more? Give us a view on that.
Well, in our industry, in the service industry and logistics industry, supply chain industry, we are using AI in two areas. When it comes to services, I am using AI to predict the vehicle maintenance. When is the service repair due? What kind of repair is expected from the respective vehicle? So we are trying to measure the parameters of the vehicle and trying to make a predictive analysis of what could break down, and so that I can organize it a timely repair and keep up the uptime of the service of the vehicle. That's one area that is internally correlated to my supply chain. So knowing on the statistics of this vehicle is going to break down and this spare part is required, I can immediately correlate with my supply chain and ensure that the nearest warehouse is optimized with the respective required inventory, so that the downtime of the vehicle is minimal and the uptime can be, servicing can be done, and the customer experience can be a wow factor. Yeah. So there we are using AI from both this perspective of service and supply chain to augment the service level and customer experience. So that's one area. And the second area where we are using AI is for supply chain optimization. So based on the demand and supply, we are able to segregate that, okay, this region of the country requires more of these kind of parts, these kind of spare parts, tires or be it belts and all. If it's a rainy season, this is in this part of the segment, these are the kind of spare parts required to service these vehicles. So with these data analytics, we are trying to augment our supply chain and optimize it so that I don't maintain a high level of inventory, unwanted inventory in the respective outlets, and thereby it's helping my revenue.
Reduces downtime as well, right?
It reduces the downtime of the vehicle, it increases the service satisfaction of the
And
customer,
the
the
asset
wow
life
experience,
cycle also of the
and the
vehicle
life
at
cycle
the-
of the asset management is also maintained well, so that I don't hold unwanted inventory in unwanted locations.
All right, thank you so much for setting the context for us. You know, Rajesh, you've been talking to a lot of AI leaders, or perhaps a lot of companies who want to actually scale their AI business, right? At this point in time, because everyone is talking about AI, a lot of companies do initiate the pilot attempts, but they're not able to scale AI. A lot of reports suggest that almost 60% companies are working towards scaling AI, but only 11% of them are successful at this point in time. And this is where IBM comes in, right? So if you can share a few success stories or use cases around organizations, you were talking in your first answer as well, where, you know, we can understand that companies have moved from their pilots to the operational excellence in AI.
So you are looking at pilot from a perspective of can it do a particular activity or not, right? So I am looking at AI, say for instance, to be able to extract some content from a document and try and make a comparison with another Excel sheet which is present and it validates, right? And this is a process which a human was doing, and this possibly tended to errors and human mundaneness, which it takes away. So while you've proven the task itself that this is doable, the challenge essentially comes in trying to embed this in as part of your entire process. So when you want to bring it to your process, you have to deliberate on many other aspects of the process in terms of where does it fit in. So does it integrate with my backend systems? So one of the challenges which many technologies, while the front end LLM is available, which does a task, how do you integrate to your backend system? So you need a strong integration portfolio which you bring in. So that's why whenever we try and bring in platforms for consumption, one of the important things is that it allows for integration to all your backend systems seamlessly, so that whatever you're doing at the with an AI model, you are able to consume it at the backend with an application and run it as a process, right? So integration becomes very important. Second part is the trust part, right? Whatever am I getting as an output, can I deploy it in production or not? So that is the second part why people don't want to deploy an AI solution, because if you want to scale, you want to trust and start using it. And there is where you have tools and technologies coming in, essentially to be able to govern what you are bringing out as outcome, right? So you have governance tools which essentially allow you to compare what you had as a benchmark for, say, a summarization versus what summaries am I getting. Similarly, if I am generating outputs of validation, then what is the confidence score that I am getting against those validations, and so on and so forth. So tools become another essential part, basically governance tools become essential part in the ability to grow. So I would see integration, tools for governance, right? Ability to tie in the entire process together. These are some of the important factors required to scale.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Just to add
yeah.
upon that, on the why you see the production delays or failures, is that always the POC runs in a regulated environment. The required data structure, the required syntaxes, everything would be in a clean environment. So that's one of the primary reasons we always see the POC always a successful thing. But when it goes to real-time production, the data is totally different format. It's not in the expected format. That's another challenge where we see the POCs go into the production go slower. That is one aspect. In addition to that, the cost. we underestimate the cost when we are doing the POC. We expect, okay, this is the expected budget, but when we go to the real-time production use case, the huge chunk of data will be loaded to the system, and obviously the cost shoots up. So that's another reason where businesses hold back from production go lives. Okay, is it really worthwhile to go now, or should we wait? These are the issues.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And we're going to talk about the challenges even in your sector in next question. But before that, I would like to come to you, sir. Sir, you are coming from the financial services space, and you know there's a prediction that AI could actually create up to $1 trillion of value in the global financial services annually, right? You are also coming from a very data rich sector. Tell us about, like, you know, what are some of the most compelling or high impact applications of AI in your sector you are seeing, especially, you know, in terms of customer experience, risk management, automation, all of them very important for a financial services organization.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. See, I come from Shriram Capital. Shriram Capital is the holding arm of Shriram Finance, Shriram Life, Shriram General, and Shriram Wealth are the major 4 companies. If you see, you know, Shriram Finance is India's largest NBFC, and we are into life insurance and general insurance also. As you rightly said, AI will definitely help a lot for this BFSI sector. When I come from finance and insurance sector, obviously there are a lot of areas which we can focus in and which we are into also. As I was telling initially, that the biggest AI case for any organization is that to reduce the turnaround time. So the TAT has to come down. If you think that where the turnaround time has to reduce is, if I take a financial organization, my main thing is that on the disbursement. So the disbursement X time has to get reduced in such a way that it should be instant with the proper compliance in place, governance, compliance, everything should be there. Where are my areas where it takes time? Which are the areas I have to look into, especially on the documentation part. When documentation part, if I reduce certain things, the turnaround time will come down. I have to focus on that, especially on the disbursement and also on the collection side. How I can collect? See, a person who has taken a loan on certain period, I have to keep on monitoring in such a way that how is the credentials of the particular person. So AI will help in such a way that it has to connect what are the business which he is doing, what are the transaction he is making, and when I give for this particular person, there could be certain rating. Say after 3 years, we don't know how the person is into. If his credentials is much worth enough, I can give an additional loan, a child loan to him. So the AI should help in such a way that disbursement also happens accordingly. If his credential is getting worse, then I have to ensure that how my collection is there. So AI is certain areas which will help there. Second, on the insurance part, the biggest need for AI is underwriting. So there the analytics plays a role. Everything has to get involved on the insurance. Then third is on the claims. See, when Manjunath was telling about the warehouse and also the supply chain management, it could be good the AI get involved into the finance company with this, with his organization, where suppose an accident happens. So what are the components? How is that insurance guy will do through AI by taking few clicks, and immediately it has to go to their TVS or similar organizations to ensure that these parts are available. So when there are lot of use cases, and the low hanging fruit is on the call center. Contact center is a major area where an organization can take in. This will help in doing a personalized loan disbursement, like a person is calling with his number, with his name, I should get the credentials and I should make it. So these are the areas where we are looking on that, but there are many cases where we can think on that.
But tell me, to all of you, you know, How are the people around you reacting to AI? Both the customers and also your employees. How are they reacting? What's the mindset are you seeing currently among them, and what kind of shift do we require? It's a bit of a segue from what we are discussing, but perhaps it's important to understand that as well. Any one of you can go on.
From the internal employees first, they are looking at skeptically whether what's going to happen to me if there are too much dependency on the system, too much of automations, what's going to happen to me. That skepticism is already there. When coming to the customers, they are happy to see, but they, as rightly pointed by him, Rajesh, that the trust factor is slowly building up. So once the trust factor goes up, the more adoptions will start. This is what my views are.
Yeah, and even for you, sir, you know, as he was talking about trust factor, when it comes to money, the trust doesn't come easily, right? So how do you see it happening in your space?
See, the biggest concern is that on the data. See, when it is purely on AI, we are bringing so many automation. Sometimes, where manually it will help it. When we are bringing more automation in things, suddenly the loan has to get disbursed through AI without any proper, or the checks is not done properly. Then the wrong person get a higher loan, which could be a difficult for us. So the data plays a huge importance here. If it is similar like data garbage in, garbage out. See, biggest concern for any organization, I am telling of the large organization, the quality of data is a major concern. I need to see that if my MIS report or what are the reports should, if we are having, should be 100% perfect. That is the area where the management is really concerned on doing AI for any organization. But in a boardroom, it has been often discussed with the IT guys, CDOs, CTOs, that where are we? How are we competing with our peers or our industry standard? Where are you? So it is a boardroom talk. So we tech guys and also the analytic guys should not ignore that. We have to go in, but it should be on the phased manner. We should not be in hurry. We should find out a use case where easily it can be proved, and there should be a feel good factor for them. If that is there, then step by step approach will definitely help.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much. And Rajesh, where IBM comes in this picture, like he's been talking about all these challenges from the data perspective and from all big NBFC challenges he's been talking about, where does IBM come?
Yeah. See, some of these challenges are real, right? So one of the things is, like Sendil sir mentioned just now, that data becomes the foundation. And it is unfortunate that we may or may not have AI ready data today, right? Whether we are talking about a contact center application, we may have to rely on data sets from all applications in our business to be able to, given in a curated and a clean fashion, to the agent to be able to perform on it, right? If you are unable to give it, the value won't come out, right? So that is very important, that the you have an infrastructure which provides readiness of data to be available to AI. Second, the tools and technologies. It's not about one use case or two use cases, right? We don't go build a factory for producing few parts, or we don't go build factories to produce, we always plan it for an X volume, X capacity, and then only find out that it's worth setting up a factory. So is the case with something like an AI technology, right? If I decide to go invest, I would rather think I invest for my enterprise, and I invest for everything. So which means I have one application which caters to my contact center, so it does to my credit assist or for my any other process. And to do that, you need strong, you need platforms. So one is being able to give AI ready data, which is where IBM comes in and helps customers to organize their data, to build clean data. Second is the platform which is required to build applications, build models, deploy your workflows, right? Whether it's an agentic workflow or you're talking about simple workflows, right? A single platform to be able to build these workflows. And lastly, to gain trust, you need the governance tools around it, right? So you offer the governance tools as well. So these are all areas we come in, and of course every customer, will be in his journey. So we play a part where we can.
But you're talking about data sets and you deal with large amounts of data sets. But when we talk about data, which is so very important for any organization, bias always creeps in, right? So how do you ensure that those data sets that you're using are perhaps bias free? And, because right now the single major concern in AI is also privacy and compliance. You're talking about governance, right? So how do you do that?
Yes, so when you are looking at bias, yes, there are two places where bias can come in, right? One is while I am training the model itself. So what data sets have I picked, selected? So what's my sampling technique there, right? From a perspective of the data sets which I am using to train the models, right? Second is while the model is in operation, whether it's a predictive use case for trucks, there could be a bias of the type of roads that have been considered where the vehicle has been driven, or for that matter the sex of the person who has been considered as a data set, right? So over a period of time, models tend to develop bias because of the data sets being changed from our input training data to what you are actually getting in as live data. So it becomes important to have monitoring tools which are able to detect the bias early and give us an opportunity to retrain the model on the fly. So this is very important in terms of bias preferencing.
You also spoke about the governance and the ethical part, right? And Manjunath, I would like for you to come in. You were talking about a lot of challenges, of course, when we talk about implementing AI. But a lot of reports perhaps suggest that very few organizations at this point in time have matured, the governance frameworks in place to support the AI scalability that we are talking about. So how do you, because you have told us a lot of use cases in your organization as well, how do you ensure the data quality, the governance and the ethical AI practices across your AI initiatives?
See, the best way we do to have the best practice of the ethical AI is that it's better to have the collaboration of all the respective stakeholders, be it from the business, be it from IT, be it from compliance, regulatory. So have them as a collaborative team so that the right inputs come at the right time. So rather than keeping till the last minute and then coming back with the changes. So that's one way of looking at the ethical part. And the governance model is that have the regular review frameworks to fine tune your AI models or fine tune your product. So fine tune your learning LLM models so that we can meet the requirement of the task. That is the second part that we do. And the third part on the ethical part is involve the process, have a review of the process when we do it. Start small and slowly go on to expansion rather than going in a large scale and getting into complexity. So that by following these, we feel that we are on the track, but still there's a lot of improvement that needs to be done and it's a long way to go.
Yeah, or a long way to go. Perhaps that's your closing statement because we are towards the end of this conversation. To you both gentlemen, Sendil sir and Rajesh, looking ahead, the AI landscape is of course rapidly evolving, right? And as they say, Dilli abhi dur hai, right? And that is true even for AI. Of course, so AI landscape is rapidly shifting towards real-time, multimodal or edge AI, perhaps as to say. There's a study by Gartner that predicts that 75% enterprises will operationalize AI by 2026. So what are those emerging trends or must-watch areas in AI adoption that you believe that organizations should prioritize in coming 12 to 24 months, 1 or 2 years? Maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, see, definitely there are a lot of tools in place. So what I personally feel is that I used to tell to my team also, follow the 4 P's. One is on the product. What is the product which we need to see for us? We as a financial organization should see that the tool which will help, the LLMs which are related to finance and the RAG which we define out of that and we bring it. we should bring a strong product. Second is that process plays a major role here. I need to bring a strong process. I have to bring a automation. When automation is not there, the AI success rate may not be what we expect. Yeah. Third is that on the people, the biggest concern for any organization is the skill set for the team which we getting the resources, handling it. So that is a big challenge and we have to address that. And fourth, which is very important, is that to have a strong partnership. So this four is there, definitely we can bring that. The one major concern before you want to close is that on the costing front. The ROI currently, I don't think any organization can predict the ROI currently by bringing the AI in place. The biggest concern for us is on the resources infrastructure, the GPU servers, how it is going to take the load and how the performance and what is the cost which we are getting it. So once we deploy the AI on the production environment, we should get the result instantly. Otherwise, no, the customer, for them will be a big problem for them to get the result. So I should invest accordingly on my infrastructure also. So these are the things, but as you telling that there are multiple tools in place which we are also piloting those things, and we will be closing in 1 or 2 tools in another couple of months, and we will bring a use case soon.
No, as he said, we do have a long way to go, but we still can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it is a way to go. Definitely there is a way, but how soon we are doing definitely we should see as an organization to organization.
Rajesh, if you want to come in.
Yeah, like any other technology, it evolves, right? So, the large language models came in, it took everyone by surprise, right? However, it's the right fit model approach. So when you look at task automation, right? Essentially, what AI does is just it does a task for you. Smaller models come into place for doing the right set of job. So that helps in cost optimization to some extent. So you should be in a position to be able to choose the right tooling, right model for you, right? So the multimodal platforms come into play here. Second part is the process, right? It has to automate part of the process. Otherwise, it doesn't add value. And there is where the industry is evolving itself to agents. And the agents are now going to help autonomously do some work for you. And as you bring in agents and LLMs together, you will have more and more processes getting automated in completeness, and that is what is going to add value. And that is a trend I see. In a couple of years, you'll see possibly a lot of autonomy in processes in organizations.
Okay, do you want to add something, Manjunath sir, to this?
Well, people have already answered what is there under the way. I think that's more than, and what we are going to see in future is more the augmented reality part, the virtual reality part. Those things are going to take thing, and the multimodal AI, like a mix of text, video, and audio. All is going to be mixed up so that the customer can get a more personalized approach. So that's going to happen much more in the coming future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for this very important conversation. The headlines now have moved from will AI replace us to how soon can we scale AI, right? And somewhere in between, businesses realized, as we were talking, that it's not man versus machine, it's man with machines, right? We're going to have more and more conversations around AI as and when we sort of implement it in our own organizations, in our own areas. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation.
Thank you. It was wonderful in discussing with you.